So where do I look?
Oh, you look straight up.
Oh, you actually look in the camera.
Yeah, well, just basic conversation.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to you most of the time, and then sometimes I'll look up.
Yeah. Okay, today we at Rutgers University in New Brunswick. Is that right?
That is correct. Hey, as you know, Rutgers is all over the place, Reverend. So today we're in New Brunswick.
New Brunswick, because you have a campus in Cook campus, right? Is it Cook or?
Well, it's the Cook campus. We have the Douglas campus.
Okay.
All of those here, Livingston and Bush.
Let me ask you, this Livingston campus,
Mm-hmm.
who is it actually named after? Is it named after David Livingston?
Now, you know, I should know that. I know that his picture is over in the old Queens building. So there was a Mr. Livingston. It's named after
Explorer?
The Explorer, yes.
Okay, so
yes.
that, for years I wondered about that
yes.
right there.
That's right. I don't know if his first name is David or John, but
I thought it was David, maybe John, but I thought it was David because I read this story.
A good, solid American name, whichever, right?
Yeah. So, and you also have Agriculture College, which is on one.
Now that's the Cook campus.
That's the Cook campus.
That's right, and that particular campus, so that you know, people don't realize this. Cook is over all of the 4-H's in the state of New Jersey.
Wow.
That's thousands of volunteers, employees, tens of thousands of youth who are engaged in our 4-H programs all over the state.
Now, when you say, okay, before we go keep going, let me first introduce you. This is Jean F. LaRue.
Yes, Janine LaRue.
Janine, okay. Vice President for Public Affairs.
That is correct.
At Rutgers, and this building is?
This is the Winans Hall.
Winans Hall.
Right, and I actually have offices on all 3 of our campuses because I'm physically engaged in all of our campuses. And then I have an office right across the street from the State House where I can watch those guys and gals over there.
Well, they need to be watched. I guess that's what people think.
Got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, a whole lot.
A lot going on.
And I hope that we can pull out of this financial thing. I think that's what everybody's worried about.
We are in a real slump here, but what folks have got to understand, as well as your viewers, New Jersey is not an island. This is going on not just all over the country, but all over the world.
Yes.
And I know there were times that they wanted Governor Corzine to do it better and go faster. They'll want it from Governor-elect Christie, and they want it from our dear President Barack Obama.
Sure.
But the truth of the matter is we didn't get into this mess
overnight,
overnight, and we're not getting out of it overnight.
Well, let me take a moment to introduce myself. I'm the American Reverend Zachariah A. Jackson from the Church of What's Happening Now, formerly on Harvest Radio, and hopefully that we get back in January with Harvest Radio. But until that time, we will continue to broadcast on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and everybody else.
All of those folks. All those folks. All, right?
We love them all. We love them all because I tell you one thing I say about YouTube, they have such class.
They really do.
I mean, Facebook also thumbs up to both of you guys, and they are very kind. They work along with you, so God bless them and everything. Today we're going to talk about, I guess, student enrollment and just students staying the course in college. And again, you were at the other day, the 3 doctors.
Yes.
Yes. I tried to make it, but I couldn't get off.
Oh, and you were missed. It was a wonderful event.
In fact, I was right across the street. I was in Terminal A at the airport.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right. I could have just walked right under.
Walked right over.
But we had so much work going on.
There will be other events for the 3 doctors, and
sure.
When we talk about young people, I would hope that your audience has read the book, The Pact, P-A-C-T. These 3 young men, raised in the city of Newark,
yes,
were on a trail or a road that was not really positive.
Sure.
And stopped in at a career day.
Wow.
At their school, and something happened in that room that day.
Now, did they know each other all the time?
They knew each other.
Were they close friends?
They were close friends because most of what they were getting involved in that wasn't good, they were doing it together. and they made a decision that day. Something miraculous happened inside of each of them, where they thought it was a joke at first. We're going to go to college. you know what, we're changing all of this street stuff and all, we're going to go to college. And they made a pact holding each other's hands and said, we are going to go to college, we're going to try to go to college together.
Sure.
We're going to become doctors.
Sure.
And whenever one of us tries to quit, we won't let that happen.
Wow.
And they graduated from UMD&J.
Yes, yes, yes,
on
yes.
the same day.
Yes.
One is an emergency room doctor.
Yes.
One is a dentist.
That's right, that's right.
And one is a gynecologist.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
They're magnificent.
You know, I heard this story at up in Newark years ago at the library. I believe it was 98 or 99, something like that.
Somewhere in that vicinity.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're actually celebrating 10 years.
Right, right. So, you know, I thought it was a wonderful story that they told, and then I heard them again in Plainfield, at Plainfield High School, and Bill Cosby was there with them that time, and he showed some excerpts from that from the Cosby Show. You know, and that was real nice also. But I tell you, you know, how can we get more of those stories? Because as minorities, we are in shortage of black doctors. Is that correct? We
are in shortage of black doctors. We are in shortage of black teachers, black engineers.
Well, why they, you know, what is it that the kids are going to school for today, the young people today?
Well, I think one of the problems with the children in schools today, it is about models. It's about role models, so that it goes back to what our president said, yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Students are excited. You watch young kids when they're in preschool and
sure.
kindergarten. They are so excited and thirsty to learn. Something happens between 5th and 6th grade where the reality of what's going on in their own environments begin to hit them. So all of us wake up some morning and say, I don't want to go to work today.
Sure, sure.
So something tells you if you're going to pay the bills, you better get out of bed, you better get moving. Well, with our young people, they might wake up and say, you know, I don't feel like going to school today. If there's no one there who will say to them, you're going today, get out of bed, and I am monitoring what you're doing in the classroom, then it gets easier and easier and easier not to go from 6th to 7th to 8th grade, and then somewhere between 9th and 11th grade, our students just drop out. Some of them never officially quit school. They just stop in 10 to 20 times a year. Even though the state says in order for your year to count, you must be there 180 days. So they just drop in, drop. And then the teachers don't say to them, Mr. Jackson, you've only been in this building 50 times this year.
Yes.
There's no way you could have really achieved all of the requirements that we wanted you to achieve, so you're going to be left back. They say, oh no, he's tall, he's old, we can't keep him back, there's going to be a problem. So then, miraculously, you find yourself in the 11th grade, didn't learn anything in the 10th grade, and then the rest is history. So what we do here at Rutgers, because we realize that this is a problem, and what we have decided, somewhere between 6th and 8th grade, in many families, that's when families start saying to their kids, you know, we're almost ready for high school.
That's the truth, yes.
There are certain things you must do if you're going to go to college. And a lot of our kids don't have that support system. So Rutgers came up with this concept called Rutgers Future Scholars.
Wow, okay.
And they have to show potential. They have to have a teacher who will vouch for them that there is potential. The parents must sign an agreement that they're going to hang in it for the end as well. And if these students, and the students must be first generation.
First generation.
Potential future scholar.
Okay.
First generation. If they meet all of those criteria, we then bring them in on the 4 campuses where Rutgers is housed: Camden, Piscataway, New Brunswick, Newark. And we call them a Rutgers Scholar. In fact, a huge Rutgers bus, huge, comes through their neighborhood.
Oh.
Picks them up.
Now, I like that.
Right?
I like
so
that.
you have neighbors looking, what's
Yes,
this big bus?
yes.
And one little girl, and when I talk about this, one little girl said to her neighbors when they said, what's this big bus here? She said, they're coming for me.
Well, let me pause for a minute as we get ready to go to a break, and we'll be back in about 1 moment.
Absolutely. Thank you. So you actually have breaks and everything.
Yeah, I set the break up because what happens is that on YouTube you can only upload 10 minutes at a time.
Oh, okay.
So when I cut the DVD, first I cut it in a hard drive, hard DVD, then I have to break it up.
Okay.
So this is probably going to be broke up into 3 segments.
Okay.
So that's the first segment, so we'll wait.
Very good.
Yeah, you got to get that, because I don't want it where you said something, then we come back,
Right.
and then, you know what I mean? We want to be able to pick up right where,
Now, is this uploading now?
No, it's not uploaded.
Okay,
now,
so
no.
you go through and edit and
Yeah, I go
do
through
your
it.
thing.
What I do, I go home and I'll burn a DVD, a whole DVD. Then I have to cut that DVD 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Sometimes 5, 6 times going on. If you look at me on
I'm going to
YouTube,
go up when I...
and you'll see I got like 100 and something videos on there. Because some of them are 3 or 4 parts and everything. Some 3 or 4 parts. Okay, well, we're back, and we want to talk about this Ruckus College bus that actually come through the community and pick up the students.
We pick them up, and the students are then brought to the New Brunswick campus in the auditorium.
Yes.
And they are told that here's what we're going to offer you. You're an 8th grader.
Sure.
According to your teachers, your parents, and to your own report cards, there's potential. If you will make an agreement with us, hang in with us, we're going to give you resources.
Sure.
You'll meet mentors who will be college students who look like you. You will meet real professors.
Wow.
We will give you all kinds of resources. We'll tutor you in the tough courses when you're not doing well.
Sure.
From your 8th grade till your senior year in high school. And then, after you have done all of this, and you start applying for colleges, and we're every year going to keep saying to you, you've got to go to college.
Sure.
College is going to change your life.
Sure.
And if by the 12th grade you say, I want to apply to Rutgers, and if you get accepted, and we're going to do everything to make sure that you get accepted, you will then have your bachelor's degree fully paid. You will be able to live on campus. All of this free.
Wow.
So that we can look back at Rutgers and say,
Sure.
we have looked at students in these communities.
And that's 4 years, just to remind the audience.
That is
4
years.
Fully paid.
In fact,
books
it could stretch out to 5 years. Because sometimes things happen in life.
Sure.
And maybe students it'll take them 5 years. But when they graduate, they will have no loans, they will have no debt affiliated with going to Rutgers University. And we would like to, Reverend, be a model for other colleges.
Sure, without a doubt.
And universities, not only in the state, but in the country.
Sure. Let me ask you this here. Where, and I guess, I don't want to jinx the project.
Right.
But where did the money come from for this?
Well, that's what's kind of fascinating. To be a good corporate neighbor, we carved some of the money out of our Rutgers budget.
Okay.
Even though our budget is being cut by the state and by the feds, we believe this is important.
Yes, it is.
We go to corporate people. We had a man who stepped up, a donor, who was so excited about the first group of Rutgers scholars, started in 2008.
And how many graduated?
And no, they
started
right now.
Okay, so I probably met them over at the campaign thing with when Bill Clinton came.
Oh, we had a whole bunch of the scholars there. So last year we brought in 25 students from each of the 4 communities. So that was 100.
Now name the communities here.
Again, it's Piscataway.
Okay.
Because we have our campus on Piscataway.
Sure.
It's New Brunswick.
All right.
It's Camden.
Yes.
And it's Newark.
Wow.
So last year for 2008, we brought in 25 from each of those towns, so that's 100.
Sure.
The gentleman pledged $100,000 to the program last year. He came to the big ceremony this year and saw us bring the 25 more from each of these communities. He pledged another $100,000. So if there is anyone watching this show who
Sure.
says, I can't do 100,000, I want to give $500 to the Rutgers Scholars, and I am going to do it in increments of $50 a month, we'll take it.
Sure.
We'll
sure.
take it, because this is, and the one thing we have to all acknowledge, we're going to pay for these students one way or the other.
Sure.
We're
Sure.
either going to pay for it in a productive setting like a college or university, we're going to support them while they're in prison, we're going to pay for it one way or the other.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
yes, yes.
if we can do it in a positive vein,
Sure,
that's
sure.
what we want to do.
And that right there is the most important thing, because if we pay for it in prison, then when they get out of prison with a felony, and I talk to many people today with a felony, they can't get the good jobs.
Can't get the job.
And a lot of times out of frustration,
That's right.
they turn right back
Absolutely.
to crime and things of that nature. So this right here is very, very
Oh, it's
very
exciting.
ingenious.
It is exciting.
And this is the first year for it, or the
This is year number 2.
year number 2.
We have 200 students. We have students who are now in the 9th grade because they've been in for a full year. And then we have students who are in the 8th grade because they just came in.
Wow. Now, when you look at a town like Piscataway, will you actually find a lot of minority students that
There
the
is,
first generation?
let me tell you something. There is the myth all over the state
Yes, it is.
where people think that the Princetons and the Short Hills, all of these communities don't have poor people. They have folks, poor people are all over this state.
Sure, sure.
In every community, and they're living in homes where their parents are blue-collar workers,
Sure.
never went to college. We're finding more than enough students. We cannot accept all of the students in each of these towns
Wow.
who are eligible to be a Rutgers Scholar.
And the reason why I guess I point that to Princeton or New Brunswick or Piscataway that way is because mainly the migration trail has been those that started out in the big cities, would
Right.
move to the Piscataway, and of course you guys
That's
don't
right.
you don't adopt it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Plainfields and things of that nature.
Right, I wish we had a Rutgers in Plainfield.
We always thought, or the thinking is that you have to go to school because there's or you should be like by now. Since the 60s, you should be like second generation
Right,
college.
right.
Because in communities like that, that don't have the large industries like a Newark has and everything, don't have an airport, don't have sometime a business building over 50 floors, and we look at it, I imagine that some of the kids that live in these little towns like that, or cities, living in houses $300,000-$400,000.
Right.
So we would think that it would be pushed on you to actually go to school because, if you don't go to school, where are you going to live if something should happen to mother, father, or whatever?
Right.
Because you live in basically a sub-middle class life.
Right. Well, the issue, again, the myth. I have held a lot of statewide positions. I'm former deputy chief of staff for Governor Corzine, the NJEA, I was a lobbyist there for 10 years, on the Casino Control Commission, and then with St. Barnabas Healthcare System, which is all of the state.
Sure, sure.
So I've traveled this entire state, and I am amazed that some of these zip codes where everyone feels the homes are all big,
Sure,
they
sure,
are all
sure.
worth, in every town in this state, very few exceptions, you're going to find a little community, it may only be 2 or 3 streets, where the houses are not appraised at the same level as the rest of that town,
Sure.
and the people who live in them
Sure.
are struggling just like folks are in Newark and Camden and some of the other areas. So it's amazing to me.
It's a myth. It's a myth.
It's a myth.
Yeah.
Every
yeah.
town has a few of those streets.
Yeah. But what we find too is that those that's living a part of that myth don't seem to.
They don't want to believe they're in it.
Right.
But they're in it. They're in it.
without a doubt. I couldn't say it no better than that right there. So you find them there and everything, and wow, this is something to actually bring the bus. Now, what color would the?
Well, our
would have to
color,
be
of
rough?
course,
Red.
it's red.
Has to be
and
red.
it's a big bus.
Big bus.
And it says
Is it the
Rutgers
school?
right above. It's our bus.
The yellow school bus look like, or is
Oh
it,
no, it's like a big touring bus.
Oh, wow.
It's like one of those big. I mean,
with the
very-
seats, with the high seats, and
the
everything?
high seats,
Oh,
really
wow.
comfort. I mean, no, they're in grand style.
Wow,
It's a huge bus.
That's got to be a lot of motivation.
And it says Rutgers, and I loved it when that little girl said, when the neighbor said, "Where is this bus going? With this bus?" And she said, "They're coming."